So I speak to you with a number of hats. Not only am I a chief research scientist in CSIRO, I've also spent at least 10 years of my life working in France and been working very closely with INRAE around the CSIRO INRAE MOU and the activities under that. And I'm also here to represent the OECD Cooperative Research Programme. And I hope you've noticed in your folders that you have a brochure for the programme, and it's the programme that sponsored this event. So I'm going to rapidly go through the slide deck just to give you some background on the OECD programme and encourage more applications, because we have this year's deadline ending on the 10th of September. So just time for you all to prepare some proposals. I'm also very honoured to say that last year I got elected to the French Academy of Agriculture, so I'm very proud to be wearing their tie today. Anyway, so the Cooperative Research Programme has been around for many years, and it funds fellowships and conferences generally across three themes. And these are currently the three themes: managing natural capital for the future, managing risks in a connected world, and transformational technologies and innovation. And today's conference is funded under the middle of those themes. And the overall goal of the Cooperative Research Programme is sustainable green growth impacts. So these are the three themes in a little bit more detail. The theme in the middle, the blue theme that I've just given you a little bit more detail on, is the theme under which today's workshop sits. So it's managing resilience in the face of multiple risks in a connected world, and covers areas like risk assessment, invasive species and biosecurity, food safety, emerging diseases, antimicrobial resistance, and climate risks for production. And just to give you some background, my roles on the CRP is I sit on the scientific advisory board, which reviews all the proposals, and I'm also a vice president of the governing body who represents the 29 countries. And this is just the comments on this particular conference. I'm just pointing to the last one. It's scored as high feasibility, politically relevant, and a good geographical balance, with a strong opportunity for a good dissemination plan following the workshop. So we will be working with the conference organisers to ensure that we get some very useful outputs from today's meeting. And the food and feed for the future is, of course, a critically important subject globally in terms of the need to find alternative proteins and the need to consider how our livestock industry needs to evolve. And that's why I think this Cooperative Research Programme really found strong importance and value in today's meeting. And we're looking towards the multinational engagement through today's workshop to get some insights that we can then provide to policymakers, both in the OECD but also through other countries. So it's very much the relevance to policymakers from these meetings which is critically important. And so here we are focusing on a number of key questions, like how agri-food systems must evolve towards sustainability and resilience to ensure nutritional food security. What are the major system transformations required? And alternative diversified protein sources for sustainable food systems, including insects, yeasts, and microalgae. So the broad coverage of today's workshop is critically important, we believe, for a greater understanding of food and particularly protein alternatives in the future. And this is why CSIRO, my host organisation, is so keen and is able to participate today, because we have a large mission programme on alternative proteins, which we'll be telling you more about. So the Cooperative Research Programme was funded in 1978 and has a number of has 29 countries that participate in it, and all countries work together to try and develop collaborative proposals under the programme, and we encourage and support through these conferences a number of international speakers from these countries to come together and talk about these critical issues. And so there are obviously, being associated with the OECD and the Trade and Agriculture Directorate, there are also plenty of opportunities for the outcomes of this workshop to be discussed and presented higher up at the OECD amongst our member countries. I'll just move beyond that one. So what does the CRP do? Well, we've, as I think I've already mentioned, and you'll see it in the brochure, we fund fellowships. Just run through these. So these are individual researchers undertaking their own research that would like to visit one or multiple CRP countries. They need a host. They develop a project. And you can get funding for up to 26 weeks to support that fellowship. And it really is about strengthening international exchange of ideas. And you need a minimum of 4 years postdoctoral experience to apply for the fellowships. And there are various outputs that come from the fellowships. I won't go into these in detail on the website, but again, it's all about building those connections. And then there's the international events, of which today's is an example. International conferences. Again, the best proposals are those that involve strongly multiple countries from within the CRP family and meet the criteria around value for policy as well as multidisciplinary science and diversity. But all of those criteria for selection are available on the website. And it's held in a CRP participating country. So today we're very privileged to be in France. And at the end of it, I have to write a report. That's the reason I'm here. But we'll also be seeking feedback through questionnaires. And these were the 2023 CRP-sponsored events. And you can see our particular conference down here, Food and Feed for the Future. So you can see we support between 8 and 10 events every year. And there's about a 1 in 3 chance of being successful under the current number of submissions that we get. And there's a whole selection process, which I'm involved in, where we sit down and assess all of the proposals based on the selection criteria. And then finally, the governing body meets in late November or early December to decide and agree on which ones will be funded. I'll ignore all of these, but just run to what I think is most important, the funding amounts. So we have on average we fund about 28,000 euros per event, but the amounts that are funding per event range from 13,000 through to slightly over 40,000, and the fellowships range between 5,000 and 20,000. And we have a budget each year of about 300,000 euros to allocate. And as I said, the deadline for the current round is on the 10th of September, so I strongly encourage anybody here who is interested to submit either a fellowship proposal or another conference proposal. And the applications for 2025 will open in April next year. Thank you.